Hello and welcome to My Career in Data, a podcast where we discuss with industry leaders and experts how they have built their careers. I'm your host, Shannon Kemp, and today we're talking to Mona Rakibe, the co-founder and CEO at Telmai.
With a robust catalog of courses offered on demand and industry-leading live online sessions throughout the year, the Dataversity Training Center is your launchpad for career success. Browse the complete catalog at training.dataversity.net and use code DVTalks for 20% off your purchase.
Hello and welcome. My name is Shannon Kemp, and I'm the Chief Digital Officer at Dataversity, and this is My Career in Data, a Dataversity Talks podcast dedicated to learning from those who have careers in data management, to understand how they got there, and to be talking with people who help make those careers a little bit easier. To keep up to date in the latest in data management education, go to dataversity.net/subscribe. Today, we are joined by Mona Rakibe, the co-founder and CEO at Telmai. And normally, this is where a podcast host will read a short bio of the guest, but in this podcast, your bio is what we're here to talk about. Mona, hello and welcome.
Thank you so much, Shannon. Hello, good afternoon. What a fantastic Friday evening to be with you and talk about my journey.
Oh, I'm so excited for you to be here and to learn about you. So you're the co-founder and CEO at Telmai. So tell me about Telmai. What's the company about, and what is it that the company does?
So Telmai is a data observability company that me and my co-founder Max Lukic have started almost 2.5 years back. What data observability is that we look at the data using our machine learning, statistical analysis, and we extract insights about the data that tells us about the health of the data, and we constantly monitor that. The company is, as I mentioned, 2.5 years old, but we have built it out very rapidly. We have customers like Merkle, Clearbit, DataStax. We have built partnership with GCP, Databricks, Snowflake, and so on. The product has already been loved. We have great reviews on G2, and also were leaders in the GigaOM report for data observability. So seed stage, so far I've raised 8.5 million seed round of funding for Telmai, and we are on a roll.
Oh, that's exciting. So congratulations on starting this business. I can't wait to hear until we get to that point. So, but tell me, as a founder and CEO, I'm sure you're wearing many hats at this point. So, what does your typical work week look like?
This is a very interesting situation in an early stage company, specifically like Telma. There's a lot to do, always.
Mhm.
Right? And specifically with the role of a founder CEO, it cuts across many different dimensions and many different business units of Telma, from operations to sales to marketing, because we don't have such a built out team in all these different functions. So first thing, my primary focus is to make sure that we build a strategy for the company. That's number one thing, across like specifically around the product market fit. Once we set that strategy, there is a tremendous amount of distractions that can go in a startup's world. So how do we make sure that we set the focus areas for the team month over month, quarter over quarter, so that we are all aligned and march in the same direction and reduce the noise and focus on the signals that we need to focus on. So those couple things are high level, and how we deliver this is through a good culture and good team. So one of my key role is to hire
Mhm.
the right team who are super top in what they do, because at our stage it's very difficult to execute if you don't have the right team. So the right team and the right culture, and keeping that momentum. Having said that, on a tactical level, if I just have to look today, I had a meeting about legal, contract review, sales negotiation, like it's all over the place, discovery call. And somebody told me very beginning when we started the company, you have one role, which is to both of us, me and Max, founder role. And that role is a very different role. You got to do whatever it takes to move the ship forward. So It is a very overloaded term. It's a very complex thing. I did not realize what that meant till I really started. It's literally anything that comes your way, right?
Sure.
Outbounding, talking to people, whatever it takes to get this ship moving constantly.
Oh, but how exciting and how fun to put all of your passion into this and build that up.
It is. It is absolutely. And I feel fortunate that I even have this opportunity.
Uh, Congratulations again. So let's back up a little bit before we get into the why and when you started. So tell me, Mona, is this what you wanted to be when you grew up? Was this the dream? Say, I'm going to be a CEO of Telmai when I grow up, and I'm going to co-found this company. On what was the dream?
So this is super funny, Shannon, because I am born and raised in a very small town in India. Or it is not super small, but it's definitely not the big cities. So uh, to put it really straightforward, my dreams also couldn't reach where I am today. So my dreams were humble back then. If I had dreamt about being a working person growing up, that itself was a big thing. So being a
Oh,
co-founder, CEO of a tech company is something that I don't think my dream would have reached back then. So I have
sure.
done my dream long ago. So it was a very humble dream. So I've come way far ahead from that part. So yeah.
Oh, wow. So tell me about that. So growing up, so then when did you start evolving your education and what did you start focusing on as you got older and start creating those dreams?
Yeah, so a little bit like I've grown up in a family where like my mom was a homemaker, my dad
Mhm.
a government agricultural officer. So a lot of the town where I grew, Nasik, there were good colleges, but the engineering colleges were very tough to get in, and specifically computer science was hard one. So I definitely did my graduation in computer science.
Mm.
Programming is something that I liked, specifically was good in the logic behind programming. From there on, I stepped out of my town to a bigger city, Pune, where I did my master's in computer science. That itself was a big step, like kind of reasoning out with my dad that it's the right thing to leave the home and not have an
Sure.
arranged marriage and like look
Yeah.
out for my career. And then onwards, getting my first job, which was on campus, much bigger than what I could have imagined or what my father could have thought that I would do. So uh, that's where my career started. I got my first job as an engineer, started working as a developer in Java, J2E. From there, started moving. I was a risk taker from the beginning, like moving out from my town and stuff. So that was one thing that always came along. And then I took another big risk of moving to US, like with not too much cash, not too much money. As like, okay, let what worst can happen? I don't find myself settled. I'll come back again. Like things won't go that bad. So here I was with a couple of suitcases and came to US, and then again continued to work here, joined companies like Oracle. Back then I was still working as engineer in Java side. Slowly what I realized that my inclination was more towards customer empathy, solve using technology to solve problems.
Mm.
So then I
Hmm.
started pivoting towards like understanding how the product is used by customers and move towards quality engineer, and I started actually doing functional quality assessment, like using the product how customers would use. Started writing about that at Oracle, complex product capabilities, breaking them down into how customers would use it. Slowly that kind of carved out my path to product management, which was one of the
Hmm.
big pivotal change for my career. And I started moving more and more towards customers, so much that I used to love doing this day in a life of customers. So basically taking a technology,
Hmm.
but spinning it around, looking at the why part of why will this technology even be relevant? Why would somebody care about this? Like, are we doing it just to innovate, or are we doing it to solve some real problems? And that's how from I was heading Oracle BPM product suite, helped move to the cloud, then joined a startup. Right after that was my entry into the startup world at a master data management company called Reltio. I was the founding product manager
Mhm.
there. That's where I entered the startup world, which was so fascinating, to be honest. It was so amazing. The pace at which I could make a change in a startup
Sure.
was awesome. Like the whole thing that I mentioned, working closely with customers, that was all 10x in a startup, right? Like you have a problem, you just get stuff done. There is no waiting for anybody. There's no like just move. So I joined there as a founding product manager, grew into heading their platform. The company was early stage, and I was with Reltio till its hyper growth into its unicorn status, and so on. After that, the startup is what I got the bug, right? So when I quit Reltio, I'm a mom of two daughters, by the way. So when I quit, I quit Reltio, and I thought I wanted to take a break. And my co-founder called me, and he's like, this problem we were working on and we kept seeing at Reltio and other companies, let's solve it with AI and data science. And I have this amazing idea. And as I told you, I'm a risk taker, right? So it
Yeah.
took me exactly 2 minutes. I had a 2-year-old back then at home. Most people would be like, I have so much going on. But I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Like, let's just start a company. I don't overthink these things. It felt right. The
Yeah.
problem is something I knew.
Yeah.
I told you it's important to have the right team and stuff. I knew this person, I knew the problem. And as always, I was like, what is there to lose? Like, yes, of course, there's things I
Sure.
could calculate a lot of things, but it feels right. The industry needs this. We have an idea, novel idea to solve it. So let's go for it. So that's really how my journey was through engineer turned product manager turned founder CEO.
Oh my goodness, that's quite the journey. So let me ask you a couple of questions. I, so I'm so impressed, that you were so confident in yourself. You knew what you want. You stood up for yourself and said, "No, hey, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go get my master's." That's so impressive. It takes a lot, to do that. And I don't know if that's risk taking as much as just confidence and self awareness of what you wanted to do.
Yeah, it's both, honestly
Yeah.
speaking. And I'll tell you something, but you're scared, like everybody else, right?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
you're confident outside, but you know that you're fighting against your parents and your family. So you have additional pressure to prove what you did was right, and
Mhm.
it was meant to be, right? Like I had that extra pressure of like going back to my dad and saying that, hey, that was the right thing to do. See, good thing you sent me out and everything
Yeah.
worked out. And you're also paving a path for others who want to do the same thing. Yeah, so it may seem on the surface being confident, overconfident, but that also is a little bit of a scary thing.
Oh, it certainly, I'm sure it was not easy. So confident, yes, but maybe a bit a hard thing to do. So that's really impressive. And so what was the catalyst then too that made you decide you wanted to move to the US and make this other big, huge, and this was certainly a risk, moving to another country.
Yeah, so a lot of it was opportunities, right? It was a lot like I was engineering, and back then, now my husband, I was dating him. He's also in tech, and we both were thinking that it is time to kind of get out of our smaller pond and explore what we can do beyond, right? More opportunities. Being specifically, we were very curious and interested in coming to Silicon Valley,
Hmm.
where a lot of innovation happens, where a lot of advancement happens, and again goes back to that mindset that yes, we at at the most we will feel that this is not right,
Hmm.
and we will come back. That path is always there. It might put additional challenges, but best case, we go out and we know that there is something that we wanted. And like many immigrants, right? The funny story is like I came on H-1B and I told that, look, my family is here, your family is here. We are not going to renew our H-1B. We'll stay for 3 years. We'll experience a new country, a new way of working. We'll be in a faster paced, more innovative place. And then we'll go back. But that never happened, right? That 3 years and no renewal, that never happened. This is home now.
Yeah.
I have kids, build a company. I feel like we did a lot for ourselves. Like here, we uh, everything said and done, this country is awesome for the amount of support we received as first generation immigrants here, from career perspective, from opportunities perspective. It was fantastic.
Oh, that's so great.
More and more companies are considering investing in data literacy education, but still have questions about its value, purpose, and how to get the ball rolling. Introducing the newest monthly webinar series from Dataversity, Elevating Enterprise Data Literacy, where we discuss the landscape of data literacy and answer your burning questions. Learn more about this new series and register for free at dataversity.net.
And so then tell me then a little bit then. So you had this conversation with Max, your partner, to talk about this problem that you wanted to solve. So you just decided to jump in and um that's, sometimes that just people I think freeze at that moment, and but you dove in and you just did what it took, and now you have seed funding, and that is amazing. So just to go after that. And
Yeah. So that journey was, the immediate yes was super fast, and then
Mhm.
the rubber meets the ground, right? Then you
Yeah, that's right.
actually start making things. You have to get the company registered, start talking to people, fundraising, bootstrapping, like putting our savings into getting the prototype ready.
Mhm.
Because until you put and show that really we strongly believe in this so much that we both quit our jobs, both of us, like, although I had quit a little bit earlier, Max also quit, and both of us were at peak of our careers where we were at that point, and we had a strong conviction. Now we had to work towards it. So we started doing, we first built out a prototype. Then we realized that when we are building a AI based product, the funding
Mhm.
is needed, because you need to bring in some data science engineers. This is hard to kind of just bootstrap with our own saved money. So at that point, we started fundraising. We also got into Y Combinator, which also
Mhm.
gave us seed money, but also gave accelerated our learning curve as founders. So we were in Y Combinator Summer 21 program. Uh, the same time we got into Y Combinator, we did a pre-seed round with .406 Ventures and Zeta Venture Partner. Both are data infrastructure and AI first investors. With that money, we were able to build out the product, push it out. Now, again, there's a lot of ups and downs, right? Like fundraising is hard. Getting the first customer is super hard. Super. I mean, I thought I knew so many people, but it is hard for anybody to put their job online for somebody who has a great vision, but we have
Sure.
to look for those early adopters, and that's not at all easy. It was a tough one. You have to go talk to people, prove out that your vision about the product is real. But once you get those early believers, then you have to prove out a lot more in terms of the product. And because they have put their jobs on the line, you have to make sure they're successful and you make them look really good in front of their company. So all of those things started, like, as we moved on. A startup life, there are challenges. We had team partially in Russia. The Russia war happened, so we had to overnight change a lot. Our team was almost brought down to engineering, to couple engineers, and we had just onboarded like large enterprise customers. So a lot of some of these challenges started. But one thing, what happens very quickly in an early stage company like Telma, is that you learn to adapt to these challenges very quickly, and you
Mhm.
develop a mindset of how do I solve this and move on quickly and not get stuck up in this, oh my God, why did this happen kind of a mindset. So we kept doing that. We embraced that, and within, even before company turned 2 years, we had three large customers. We had earlier this year, we built all these partnerships, and now we are on a super good growth momentum. So with those ups and downs, in the end, with the right team, with the right vision, we were able to kind of do a lot in these 2 years, 2.5 years.
So tell me then, with all these different changes and risks that you've taken, what has been your biggest lesson so far in your career?
From a career perspective, the way I would say, Shannon, is that if you go by a typical corp, especially I've worked at large companies, the way a growth chart is built, it's based on statistics and data, right? Most people, they become an engineer, after that senior engineer. If they like the individual role, they can continue to be a top class engineer and or an architect, or then you pick the other ladder, which is like people manager and stuff. There, but often people get caught up in that and feel like that's the path they have to go with, but that's not the truth. You have oftentimes you have to look inward. What is my personality? For me, that was the moment, right? I love technology, but I loved solving problems with technology, right? Now there was no path like this to figure out, right? When I started getting signals, I just kind of moving a little bit lateral here and there, QA, product manager, data company. If problem solving is what you like, then, and if you're in a little bit of a different ladder, then you need to figure out how to get out of that ladder, right? Because the org structures are not designed for you. They are designed on the masses and statistically designed, right? So sometimes you have to carve your path outside of that. So that's my learning. If I had tried to always figure out how fast I can go through that chart, I would have missed these opportunities.
Oh, that's really, really good advice and a really great lesson. Um, so, especially then too, as you're hiring people in data, um, do you see the importance of data management and the number of jobs working with data increasing or decreasing over the next 10 years, and why?
I think it will increase and increase dramatically, because there's a lot of sentiment in the industry that data and AI will take jobs. But I look at it differently. AI will make jobs easier. AI will make things faster, cheaper, better, what you are doing now, which means that the human skills of like analyzing thing differently, putting a little bit of empathy, will become a very premium thing, right? And
Mm.
you use AI for everything. I use data for everything, all decisions, all, whether it's marketing, product decisions, what should we do, what features should we do. Let's figure out, like, what does the data show, what is the user feedback show, what does our research show. So there's data there. Where do we focus on marketing efforts, how do we segment our market? That's again data driven, right? So data is going to be everywhere. People who adapt data driven mindset will
Mhm.
will definitely have a premium, will have a lot of room to grow and continue to grow. Problem solving with data will also be very crucial. So I do feel like the importance of data will increase, the jobs will be there. The focus should not be so much specifically on the tools, but on the tools and technology, because they constantly evolve. Just in my career, there has been so much of evolution. The focus should be on problem solving with these tools and data. And if you master that, then everything around can keep changing, but your skill set will never go out of fashion or whatever.
That's really important. So, and you mentioned data and how you use it all the time, and it's a key component to your company. So, what is your definition of data?
So my definition of data is exactly something that helps you what you do.
Mm-hmm.
faster, cheaper, and better, right? That is my simple way of thinking about data, but there's so much complexity in that. Faster because now you have data to make decision and not just like hypothesis. Now you have some information that can help you quickly drive your decisions. And everybody's impatient today, right? Everybody wants, I mean, think about the time when cloud came, right? The adoption curve was so like it took its own sweet time for everybody to adopt it. If you
Mhm.
think about generative AI, in November, we all played with Open ChatGPT, Open AI, and today so many companies are already have production models and like everything has become fast. And then data helps things get even cheaper, right? Like because in terms of now we have the technology to make decision faster, cheaper, and better. That our bar for better has increased dramatically, right? Every even for startup our stage, people expect top-notch service, top-notch product, everything, right? And I feel data gives us these three things uh, in general at every level.
That is really a great definition, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. Um, so then, Mona, especially as an employer, what advice would you give then to people looking to get into a career in data in any aspect?
Yeah, so first thing is data is here to stay. AI is here to stay. So the sooner we all kind of accept that fact and start learning and getting our skills updated, and at every level we have to do it. Even at my level, I have to always be two step ahead of what is happening on technology front. So I would definitely advise everybody to embrace that. First thing, data is here to stay. AI is here to stay. So build that skill set. And when I say skill set, sometimes it's not so important that you start coding and doing everything, start learning every single data science algorithm. But what you need to know is how do these things apply to what you are doing, and how can you
Mhm.
solve what you're doing with the use of data science, and then the technologies will evolve and you have to keep learning. So my top advice would be like embrace this, start leveraging some of the modern technology, start updating yourself with what's happening in the AI world, especially generative AI. We did that at Telmai. We have like a hackathon, and we are encouraging everybody to constantly see what can we do, what we are doing better with AI. It doesn't have to be in our product and as a part of our product, but it could also be like Copilot, and how can we write better test coverage using AI and make our lives easier. So really embrace that mindset.
That's great advice. And so tell me, how do you keep up with the latest technology and what's happening in tech?
So I definitely read up most of the time. So I read up. I used to read books before a lot, but now I
Mhm.
either listen to books that helps
Mhm.
me kind of do multiple things together. I follow folks whom I feel have a good point of view,
Mhm.
whether it's in data science and data itself. So who have a clear articulation, who have good customer-driven approaches to explaining solutions. So I follow that. I feel those are easier way to consume shorter nuggets. The other thing that I personally like doing is I like to write blogs for Telmai myself, at least the outline,
Mhm.
and that enforces me to do a lot more research, right? It's a forcing factor, and I have a personal objective of at least getting one or two blogs out, which means, and I pick a topic which I should research. So let's say when large language model came and there was a lot of hype around it, what is the impact of data quality on model training? Now that's a topic I knew there is impact. I knew as somebody who's in the space that there is going to be impact of bad data on how you train your model, fine tune your model. So I said, why don't I write it? And if I'm writing it, I have to do a very thorough research. So that then I start reading about it, and then I start following few authors, and then so it kind of puts me in this forcing factor kind of a thing. And by the end of it, because I'm writing about it, I kind of develop a subject matter expertise and point of view on
Oh, very nice. I like the multitasking.
that.
It's so great,
Master of
multi-purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Mona, this has been so great. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, if people wanted to learn more about Telmai, where would they go?
So our website, Telm.ai, which is getting updated in next couple of weeks, we'll have much more. But there's a lot on Telm.ai. I'm very accessible on LinkedIn, I individual, because as I told you before, I love talking to people. So I'm one of those people. I have another kind of thing that I like to do is like people, especially in the data space. So uh, having at least 4 or 5 meeting with new people and just understanding what their pain points are, what they're learning about, what they are seeing in their use case in their world is something that I absolutely derive a lot of insights from. So easy, I'm relatively very easy to get hold of on LinkedIn and stuff. But learning about Telmai, www.telm.com, telm.ai, my bad. And we have blogs under that, and we keep writing about topics in the data reliability space, data observability space, also about data science and how we use AI to do what we did traditionally in a differentiated approach. So there's a lot on that blogs site of our website.
Very nice. And I'll be sure and grab those URLs from you and we'll get them posted on the podcast page as well for everybody.
Awesome.
Sweet. Well, Mona, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. It's been a joy getting to know you.
Thank you so much, Shannon. I'll stay in touch with you, but this was really a good conversation. I hope my journey inspires. I'll leave you with one closing thought. I'm a pretty mediocre person in every which way. And that's why I hope the audience learns this, that do not try to pattern match you with others, because that's very limiting. If you're trying to look at people who are Stanford dropout or MIT dropouts or MIT grads who are building stuff, or that's not the case, because anybody, the message that I would like people to do is like just carve out your own path. There's no pattern here for, especially for starting things, and not to say that I'm super successful or anything, but at least carve out your path of your career. So specifically, since you're doing this for career for people, I think that's a useful thing to walk away with.
Such sage advice, and thank you for saying that. So that is our hope. There is no straight path in data. There's no straight path in any career, and it's so true. Just following your passion, following being true to yourself, and as you say, carving your own way. It's yeah, you don't have to follow the plan that's mapped out for you.
Yeah, I think a lot of us just try to pattern match with
Mhm.
others. That doesn't always work.
No, I wish I had learned that a lot earlier in life.
I wish the same for myself also. Like a lot of time I kept like comparing and thinking,
Yeah,
but yeah, I
yeah.
mean, that's one thing I would tell even my daughters, like it's your path, it's your journey, and don't try to match it with others.
Ah, what a great note to end on, Mona. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Shannon. It was such a pleasure talking to you, and good luck with everything.
Likewise. And to all of our listeners out there, if you'd like to keep up to date on the latest podcast news and the latest in data management education, you may go to dataversity.net/subscribe. Until next time, stay curious, everyone. Thank you for listening to Dataversity Talks, a podcast brought to you by Dataversity. Subscribe to our newsletter for podcast updates and information about our free educational webinars at dataversity.net/subscribe.